Good day. Now let's proceed to the applicable electronics auxiliary materials in the preparation of architectural buildings. Okay, so for the learning outcomes for this topic, still we must name the common electronics terminologies and also define communication and automation for designing the system. Okay, these are the illustration or the best example of electronic materials and devices in the backward. Communication systems describes the information exchange between 2 points. The process of transmission and reception of information is called communication. The major elements of communication are the transmitter of information, the channel or medium of communication, and the receiver of the information. Okay, now let's proceed to the basic concepts of communication, where we have two types of communication systems, the analog and the digital. The analog technology communicates data as electronic signals of varying frequency or amplitude. While the digital technology, the data are generated and processed in two states, which is high, represented as code 1, and low, represented as code 0. So digital technology stores and transmits data in the forms of ones and zeros. Depending on the communication channel, the communication system is categorized as follows. We have the wired or line communication and wireless, which is space communication. Let's take the examples of communication system. We have internet. The second one is the public switch telephone network. Third one is the internet and extranet. And number 4 is television. These 4 is existing on some structure and buildings in the Philippines. Internet is the LAN 1 connection. Public switch is the CCTV, CATV, and the telephone system. Intranet and extranet, we have FDAS and public address system, and television is we have the cable TV system. Let's take the elements of communication system. So we have the effect of attenuation, which we have the point 1 is the transmission of medium, where the point 1 is the source from the original, then until to point 2, which the original data is attenuated, then until to point 3, which is amplified. So as you can see, the original and amplified is the same as figure. Attenuation is a problem caused by the medium. Okay, it is caused by the medium. When the signal is propagating for a longer distance through a medium, depending on the length of the medium, the initial power decreases. The loss in initial power is directly proportional to the length of the medium. So using amplifier, this is one, the symbol of the amplifier, the signal power is strengthened or amplified so as to reduce the attenuation. Also, digital signals are comparatively less prone to attenuation than analog signals, where this is the best illustration of elements of communication systems. So communication is only possible by bouncing the signal through the repeater. Excuse me. So the home, we have the repeater in the high elevation area, then the other one. So this is the reason why some towers, communication towers, are located in the high elevation areas. Repeaters are placed at different locations in between the transmitter and receiver. So this is the block diagram of communication system. From transmitter, we have the information source, the transducer, the amplifier, then modulator, then antenna. Then we have the channel. Remember that in a channel, we have a noise. So where the receiving antenna again, the modulator, detector, amplifier, until it receives the information source. Now, let's be familiar with the communication cables. We have three: coaxial cable, twisted pair cable, and the fiber optic cables. Coaxial cable is type of electrical cable made from 4 layers, forming coaxial shape, having common axis or center. Okay? Axis or center. The central part of coaxial cable is a conductor covered by an insulating plastic layer which is surrounded by a metallic shield. So on top of that, that is a fourth layer of plastic insulation. The coaxial cable is used for transmission of high frequency signal. This is why the metallic shield is used for blocking noise, interference. So it is commonly used for cable television. So makita nyo na sa TV. Signal distribution, signal transmission between antennas, transmitter, and receiver. So the coaxial cable is further divided into various types and each of them has their own application. So at the left side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coaxial cables. The first one is the Heliax cable. So it can carry hundreds of channels and is usually installed between a transmitter on ground and aerial antenna. So the next one is the radiating or leaky coaxial cable. This type of coaxial cable is used in places where antenna is not feasible, such as underground tunnels, elevator shafts. Third one is the triaxial or triax cable. So this is, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 parts. We have outer PVC jacket, braided shield, insulation, braided shield, and insulation, and the connector. So this is high protected cable to avoid electromagnetic interference or signal interference. The other one is the Twinax cable. So it is used for high speed, short range signal communication, usually for 10 gigabyte Ethernet network. So inside the office. So the next one is the semi-rigid coaxial cable. So it is another type of coax cable where the outer sheet is from solid copper. So commonly you can see it on the back side of the television. Then the last one is a rigid line coaxial cable. So they are used for high power signal transmission between RF components of a transmitter and antenna. The next cable networks are twisted pair cable. So this type of communication cable is made from two insulated wires twisted together to form a twisted pair. So they are used in Ethernet network and telephone communications. So these are types of twisted cable. So UTP, short as shielded twisted pair. So these are used in residential and commercial building with various bandwidth. So Cat1, Cat2, this is the code name, but the full name of this is Category 1, Category 2. Then the other one is if we have unshielded, we have also shielded twisted pair cable. So they are used for high-end applications where the cables may get affected by external environmental interference. And this is common. You can see it on the LAN cable on your computers and also in the offices on the internet shops. The last one is the fiber optic cables. So this is a type of communication cable made of flexible, transparent glass fibers known as optical fibers that transmit data in the form of light. So some of the internet connection now are using fiber optic cables. So we have 4 components of electrical auxiliary system: the telephone LAN 1, CATV, CCTV, and FDAS. This is what I mentioned earlier. So let's discuss the first one, the telecommunications, which is the telephone system. So the first one is we have PBX, or the private brand exchange. So a PBX telephone system connects all the phones within a company internally. So this is common. So as a company, traditionally, you will need to purchase and install a PBX network and operate it from within the office. So the benefits of the hosted telephone system, so it allows a business to operate an internal phone system and use fewer phone lines from the phone company. So top PBX system, so actually you just only have 1 to 2 numbers, then 2 or 3 more telephones are connected on those numbers. So top PBX systems offer the option to manage voicemail, auto attendance, and recorded messages. So this includes phone extensions for everyone in the company. So today, PBX systems have evolved quite a bit. No longer beholden to the local telephone company, calls are made using voice over internet protocol, or VoIP technology. Instead of analog lines, which is the traditional one, SIP trunking establishes connectivity for a fraction of the cost. So the first one for the PBX system is the on-premise telephone system. It can either consist of physical wires around the office which connects your office's data center to employee desk phones. Or you can use IP technology and make connections through an internet connection. So either way, the main PBX system is inside your physical workspace. The next one is, what is the hosted cloud phone system? Earlier, I already mentioned the voice internet protocol solution. This means that cloud phone systems are usually cheaper than their alternatives. So all you're paying for is the connection is to be set up. And since those connections are made through the internet using a VoIP solution, it's much quicker to get up and running. Speaking of which, you will still be able to use your normal everyday equipment. You don't need any special IP or phones or HardWorks desk phones to use a cloud phone system. Simply download the provider's app onto a laptop, so this is more common today, mobile devices, or VoIP conference phone to start taking calls. So as you can see, wireless router, they are connected, the phone, laptop, and tablet. Then your business network plan connected with the wireless router, you have the desktop IP phone, desktop analog, or any gateway to your soft phone on desktop computer offices. Then after that is, since you have cloud provider or your cloud system, you have router, internet, then the telephone network. So everything is connected. Okay? So if you prefer new equipment, VoIP headsets are a great option. So they provide clear and crisp sounds, and cordless ones have incredible range. So these are commonly applied in some call centers here in Davao. So they provide mobility, not seen in a legacy phone system, but your team in the office can easily take their phones home and continue working without any interruption or vice versa. Next one. Let's define what is LAN. So local area network is a collection of devices connected in one physical location, such as building, office, or home. Regardless of size, a LAN's single defining characteristic is that it connects devices that are in a single limited area. In contrast, a wide area network, or WAN, or metropolitan area network, or MAN, covers larger geographical areas. Some WANs and MANs connect many LANs together. So what is in LAN? A LAN comprises cables, so cables here, access points, switches, routers, and other components that enable device to connect to internal servers, web servers, and other LANs via wide area network. So this is the main source. So for example, in an office with multiple departments such as an accounting, IT support, and administration, each department's computers could be logically connected to the same switch but segmented to behave as if they are separate. So the advantages of LAN are the same as those for any group of devices networked together. So the devices can use a single internet connection, share files with one another, print to shared printers, and be accessed and even controlled by one another. While the benefits of having devices connected to a network have always been well understood, So it wasn't until the wide deployment of Wi-Fi technology that LANs became commonplace in nearly every type of environment today. So today, not only do businesses and schools use as LANs, but also restaurants, coffee shops, stores, and homes. So wireless connectivity has also greatly expanded the types of devices that can be connected to a LAN. Now, nearly everything imaginable can be connected from PCs, printers, and phones to smart TV, stereos, speakers, lightings, and etc. So what is WAN? So WAN is also known as Wide Area Network. So WAN can facilitate communication, sharing of information, and much more between devices from around the world through a WAN provider. And simply, that is the internet. Okay, we have VPN and centralized voice from the primary site to the data center and to the commercial or end user. Okay, what is the purpose of WAN connection? So, if WAN connection didn't exist, organization would be isolated to restricted areas or specific geographical regions. Excuse me. WANs allow them to communicate between branches, share information, and stay connected. When an employee travels for work, WANs allow them to access the information they need to do their job. WANs also help organizations share information with customers, as well as partners organizations such as B2B clients or customers. However, WANs also provide an essential services to the public. Students at universities just like you might rely on WANs to access library databases or university research. So, and every day, people rely on WANs or WANs to communicate, bank, shop, and more. So, for information to everybody, for architecture students, we have communication cabinets and racks. So, everything is possible on a system, but you must have a space provided for auxiliary or communication system. So this is the illustration of communication cabinets and racks. So we have open frame racks, enclosures, security and lock boxes, wall mount ceiling, rack mount power strips, rack cable management, hardware and accessories, and etc. Remember that the communication system area must be not serve as one space area consumed by electrical equipment. So they must be separated in space. So these are my references.